what I want to show you here is a project by Meyer Architecture. This is a presentation that was done for a overall site concept. And what we have in ArchiCAD in Plan View, and switch to 3D view here. This is created with ArchiCAD's tools, the mesh tool. Buildings are created with the zone tool. And of course we have landscape elements here as well, and these were done all with the built-in objects that come with ArchiCAD. And we can move around the site. All the curbs, streets, and other elements were modeled here with ArchiCAD. And we can see a variety of trees and of different types of complexity here. So we're going to look at that a little bit more closely later. So the advantage of landscaping within ArchiCAD, we can keep everything with the model together. We can keep all your plan sections, 3D views together, and we can lay these out onto layouts. We can also take schedules from this project and we can list all the plants if we'd like to do that. And when the design changes, we can change the model, and it updates all of these views automatically. Here's an example of creating a presentation using a combination of ArchiCAD's built-in Lightworks rendering and also the sketch rendering. Zooming in here, we can see that the sketch rendering has been overlaid on top of the colored Lightworks generated rendering, and that gives you a nice effect, a hand sketch look, and again with color. And just to illustrate that, I'll take one of these drawings and drag it over, and you can see that there are two drawings that have been placed onto this layout simply on top of each other to give that effect. And in this project they also chose to create some hand-rendered images. Of course that's always an option, using ArchiCAD's model to trace over for the massing and then adding some hand-rendered sketches. So disadvantage there is, of course, when the model changes you need to recreate those hand sketches. So what I'll show you are some other techniques you can use, digital techniques with ArchiCAD and some other products. So the other products I'd like to talk about are, first of all, we'll look at Photoshop. And this is an image that was created in ArchiCAD and then brought into Photoshop for a photo montage, placing a rendered view of the model into a photograph of the existing site. Here's another example of that technique. There are tools within ArchiCAD, specifically the Align tool within ArchiCAD will allow you to do the same type of thing. Photoshop gives you a little bit more flexibility as well, but if you are interested in taking a look at the Align tool, you will find that in the Document, Creative Imaging, and Align view. So we need a photograph of the background of a site, a particular site, and we can use that to adjust the camera in the 3D window to match the projection of the camera in the actual photograph, and it will help to align those two views together. Another example that we can achieve with Photoshop. Here we have some images. These are by B9 Architects, and this is for a project that was again modeled in ArchiCAD, and they brought this into Photoshop to give it more of a watercolor look. The images of these trees here are actual photographs that were taken and of trees on the site and placed into Photoshop and given some artistic touches on top of that. Then I'd like to talk about Piranesi. So with Piranesi we can do some similar techniques. Piranesi allows you to place elements in 3D space. You can place 2D, what are called billboards or cutouts, and you can take these 2D elements and place them in your view, and it will recognize perspective. So as you place these trees here, for example, as you can see, as they go into the distance, the perspective is automatically sizes that. And you can also do some nice hand-rendered techniques on top of your generated ArchiCAD models. And this view here I like. It shows how you can really use landscaping um, to really soften up your 3D renderings. Then I'd like to talk about Artlantis. So you want to go to Piranesi when you want more of an artistic look. Artlantis will give you both, has some nice artistic touches you can add, as well as more photorealistic rendering that you can do with Artlantis. This particular project, again, modeled in ArchiCAD, and has some landscape elements in this that are 3D as opposed to 2D billboards. So we'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of 3D versus 2D later on. And finally, I'd like to look at a couple more images here. And these were created with Maxwell Render. This is a very high-end rendering package. Works well with ArchiCAD, and this is something that you can use to really get high-end photorealistic images from your models. So these were rendered in Maxwell Render, and you can see that a lot of these elements are 3D, and they give you shadow and shade. You can also see some 2D elements that were placed here, these white silhouette people, and so they've used some artistic technique, even though this is really, it's a high-end photorealistic type rendering. So question always comes up is, where can we find good trees? Good trees are hard to find. So I'll give you some ideas on